Hi, and welcome to the first ever Heritage Prairie Farm MicroGreen recipe demo. I'm Chef Nick Kennedy, and today I'm going to be teaching you guys a really fun and easy spring-summer recipe featuring our microgreens. The recipe we're going to be making today is a grilled zucchini wrap up with microgreens. You're going to need 3 small zucchini, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, some salt and pepper, 1.5 ounces of fresh goat cheese, a tablespoon of chopped fresh parsley, half a teaspoon of fresh lemon juice, about 1.25 ounces of microgreens, a third of a cup of basil. It's really great if you're going to get fresh basil, especially if you have your own plant, because you can save some of the smaller leaves to actually put in the wrap, which is really great garnish. We're going to use the bigger ones to chop up and put into the mixture for the roll-up. First things first, for this recipe you're going to want to get your grill preheated to about medium-high heat. That might take about 10-15 minutes. So go turn on your grill, and after that we're going to start cutting all the zucchini. So for cutting your zucchini, the best way to do it is with a mandolin. You can use a knife, but you have to be really precise, and you need a really sharp knife and a really big knife. So mandolin, much easier, faster, simpler. You do have to be careful with these things though. They do have an extremely sharp blade. So if you have either a Kevlar cut glove, which is kind of hard to come by, but we keep them around here. Your mandolin may have come with some sort of guard. You definitely want to use that just to keep your fingers away from the blade and keep your fingertips in place. So you're going to want to take your zucchini and your mandolin on your cutting board, and you'll get either your guard or your glove. If you use a cut glove, it's always a good idea to put a latex glove over it. It just helps keep everything clean and sanitary. These cut gloves don't really wash very well, so make sure you keep it covered and keep everything sanitary. To get started cutting the zucchini, you're actually going to want to take the top and the bottom off first, just so you don't get those pieces in your slices. So just make little cuts on either end. You can discard these pieces. Then you have a nice uniform looking piece of zucchini. Get your mandolin on your cutting board, and we're going to slice this lengthwise. We have the mandolin set to between about 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. So again, being careful to keep your fingers away from it. You're going to slowly slide the zucchini down. The first couple of pieces are going to be mostly peel. You don't want to use any of that stuff, so just throw that stuff out. But once you get down to the good stuff, you'll end up with slices that look more like this. And that's about 1/4 of an inch roughly, and that's the perfect size and shape for our wrap. This one's got a little too much peel on it. So just go slow. And make sure to keep your fingers away from that blade. Once you have all of your zucchini sliced, you want to take each slice and lay it out onto a cutting board. To get them ready for the grill, we are going to take off our cut glove, for one. If I can do that. These things are a little hard to get off sometimes, especially when they're too small for your giant hands. So this is where the extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper comes in handy. So you'll brush each one of these on both sides with the olive oil, and then you'll sprinkle them each just a little bit of salt and pepper on both sides. Now that we have our zucchini seasoned, we get them onto a plate and take them out to our grill. You're going to want to grill each of these about 2 to 4 minutes on each side till you get really good grill marks going across them. So once you have your zucchini grilled, you're going to want to set that aside and let it cool off a little bit. We'll come back to it, but in the meantime, we're going to make our filling, our cheese mixture. So you'll want a nice big bowl to mix it in. You'll need about 2 ounces, ounce and a half, 2 ounces of goat cheese. We have a 4-ounce piece here. So we're going to cut that in half and throw that in the bowl. We're also going to want to pick some of our fresh basil. Get a couple of these bigger leaves here. You want to save the smaller ones to put into the roll, but big ones are perfect for chopping. You need about a tablespoon, so you might want 8-10 leaves if you have a decent sized plant. We're also going to then pick, also pick some of our curly parsley to chop along with the basil. Also going to need about a teaspoon and a half, maybe a tablespoon at the most, to mix in with that cheese. So get a good little pile of that. And lastly, we'll need a little bit of a lemon. So once you've sliced off a little wedge of your lemon and you've chopped your herbs, you only need about a half a teaspoon of fresh lemon juice. So just a little edge, not even a full quarter of the lemon. Shouldn't be any seeds in that part since you're just at the edge. So go ahead and squeeze that directly over the goat cheese. Try and get as much of that out of there as you can. And that should end up being about a half of a teaspoon. And then you can add your herbs. If you're going to scrape them off the cutting board with your knife, just make sure you use the back of your knife and try to get all of that in there. Even scrape that off the knife a little bit. Get our hands off. Then you're going to want to grab a spoon or a fork, either one works really. You want to make sure you get in there and really mash the goat cheese down. At this stage, it helps if the goat cheese is a little cold because it'll crumble a little more nicely. But as we move on, it's okay for it to warm up a little bit because you want it to kind of form a little bit more of a paste so it can be spread more easily. So once you have your filling good and mixed, you can set that down. You want to make some space on your cutting board. We're going to start filling our zucchini rolls. So lay your slices flat on your cutting board. You keep them nice and close, it makes it a lot easier. Just go down the line. And want to make sure you have a small spoon handy for this as well. It's a little bit easier than using a big wooden spoon to get that right in the middle there. So take about a teaspoon or so of the filling for each one of your rolls. Just want to get that kind of right on the edge there, and you want to start spreading it down the length of each slice. So once you've finished spreading your filling on each of your slices, you can go ahead and set your spoon aside. We're now going to fill each of these with a little bit of basil and microgreens. So go ahead and pick some tiny leaves from your basil. Stick that one right in the middle of your roll up. Then you're going to want to grab your Heritage Prairie Farm microgreen mix and sprinkle these pretty liberally over each slice. It's okay if they're sticking out a little bit. We're going to add some more at the end anyways. And now we can start rolling this guy up. So starting at the end closest to you, just kind of gently, because it's very fragile, start working your way towards the other end, making sure not to put too much pressure on any one point of this thing. Once you have all your rolls wrapped up, you want to take a little bit more of your Heritage Prairie Farm microgreen mix, just a tiny little fingerful to garnish the top of each of them with. The more micros you can fit on here, the better. This mix in particular is just packed full of all sorts of vitamins and minerals, so you can never have too many of them. Get those guys on there. Then find one of your nicest platters. We're going to use this little wavy guy here. Arrange them Just a straight line down this plate. Use this recipe at your next party or gathering. You can really wow your friends with a really fun, easy, healthy recipe. Thanks again for watching, and make sure to check out our recipes page to see all sorts of other great ideas featuring Heritage Prairie Farm MicroGreens. And that's a wrap.